everyone, welcome to our podcast Aquatalks presented by MANAGE-FISHub. This platform brings you inspiring stories, innovations, and impact driven startups from the aquaculture and fisheries ecosystem. Today we have with us Mr. Vatsal Agarwal, co founder of Blue Wave Aquaculture, a company which is working on technology driven aquaculture using recirculating aquaculture system. Hello, Vatsal, how are you?
All good. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, okay. So tell us about yourself. What inspired you to enter into the aquaculture, especially the focus on recirculating aquaculture?
Thank you so much for having me here. A little bit about Blue Wave. So, Blue Wave Aquaculture was founded by me and my older brother, Shaurya, who couldn't be here. And our journey and fascination with fish, I think, started from when we were children. We've always been extremely obsessed and fascinated by marine life, and that was an interest that didn't leave us. For him, my older brother, he took that interest and formalized it by studying and doing RAS courses at Cornell. And he was from the biology farming side. But for me, the path was a bit different. Aquaculture was not in my radar until I think 5 years ago, and I went to NYU, went to Stern, studied finance, understood the business side of things. But all of that changed back in 2022 when me and him visited a farmer friend who was doing a biofloc tank actually. And when we visited him, the farm, something clicked. Both of us realized that the West and the West does aquaculture in a different way. Tech-enabled aquaculture was still missing in India, and we could not understand why. So we didn't waste too much time. We thought that this was a very good opportunity. We saw the scale behind it. We saw how impactful it could be for the farmers as well. And we tried to do what a lot of people have done. We thought we can just build out our own RAS system. So in 2022, we started with building pilots. We built out our first RAS pilot, and to understand everything, the biology, the chemistry, water levels, oxygenation, pH, just to understand how the system works. And that was an extremely humbling experience. It was very, very difficult to make the system run well. We had so many failures, so many breakages, but it really showed us what it means to run it well. RAS on paper seems like I don't know if it seems like that, but maybe it looks like it's a good system to run on paper, but it was extremely difficult to run by ourselves just as a DIY project. And that's when we realized that for pilots and everything, it was okay to do a 2-ton, 4-ton pilot, but if you want to build a commercial scale RAS, you need to have proper equipment partners. And that's when, in 2024, 2023, we got a Danish RAS engineering firm called Freya Technologies or Freya Solutions to join us as equipment partners. And they are doing everything from the design reports to the technology to consultation to training, which has given us the confidence to build or to move from these small pilots to a big commercial scale farm that can hopefully mirror the West and beat them as well.
Like many people hear about the RAS technology, but some of them may not understand it. Can you explain what is RAS technology and how it will be the future of what exactly it's?
Of course. I mean, I'm not sure if it'll be the future of India. I would hope so. But RAS is an acronym that stands for Recirculating Aquaculture System. It essentially, at its core, is just a land-based farming method which circulates and filters water instead of drawing from an open source. It's a control system that maintains oxygen levels, pH levels, ammonia, everything, and it gives you a controlled system where you can mimic the fish's life or its growth cycle anywhere in the world, essentially. Why we think it's going to be important for India is a couple of reasons. Firstly, as we all know, the wild catch population across the world has been flat since the 1980s. And in 2022, recently, I think the volume of farmed fish increased, or rather took over the volume of wild caught fish. And with the growth in population, with the predicted increase of seafood, seafood is supposed to grow by 10 to 15% in the next 10 years. That growth cannot be matched by pond farming in a very unorganized way. So that demand needs to be met by smarter farming methods, which we think RAS could help in. And secondly, what's also more important is that India ranks in the top 3 aquaculture nations in the world by volume. But if you look at fish export from India, our fish export in premium species or species that the entire world eats is essentially zero. Common carp is not consumed by the rest of the world. And we don't have a lot of expertise in growing cold water species, premium species like trout, like salmon, like groupers. RAS gives you that advantage to do that, right? Using the RAS technology, I can start growing trout in a tropical climate like India. So if we want to truly capitalize on being a strong front in the aquaculture industry in the world, we need to start getting premium for our fish. And we can't do that by growing rahu in our ponds. We need to move towards some sort of premium cold water species that can be done in a cold and controlled environment.
What is the current stage of your company, Blue Wave Aquaculture? What kind of services and support you are offering to the fish farmers?
We have 2 pilots running, as I said, of our DIY RAS system just made better in a way. And we're raising money for a commercial scale farm. It's a capital intensive process, so we're still in the process of raising money. And we hope to start construction this year of the farm. In terms of the services we support, our experience with RAS and just building this farm has given us an opportunity to be or act like, like help other farmers understand what it needs or what it requires to set up a RAS business. And not just a farm. A RAS business requires strong market linkages because you can grow the fish, but if you don't sell it at the required margin, your business collapses. So we currently, even though we don't think of ourselves as consultants, if any other farmer who's interested in RAS wants to learn more about RAS and wants to set up a farm, our farm doors are always open. And they can definitely ask us for help, and we don't think of ourselves as experts in any way, but we'd be glad to help in any way possible.
Every technology has its pros and cons. So I want to ask really, like, what kind of challenges as a startup or as the farmers they can face by using the RAS technology? As for your startup also, I'm asking that. So can you tell the truth?
Yes, of course. RAS is extremely difficult. Let me be very clear. Even though RAS technology is touted as, it's a proven technology, everything's amazing. But even for something like salmon that has attracted extremely high investment from investors all across the world, I think RAS production or RAS contribution to the entire population of farmed salmon is less than 5%. So what I'm trying to say is that RAS in general is a very difficult thing to do because the margin of error in RAS technology is very small. It's a capital-intensive business, and it doesn't leave you a lot of room to play around with. That said, if I had to, broadly classify 3 main risks that farmers in India would face, along with us, these are risks that we face as well. It'd be operational risk, market risk, and financial risk. Operational risk will be one of the main ones because as India doesn't have a pipeline of RAS farms, we don't have a lot of RAS farmers. We don't have a tight, disciplined operational plan that can be seen or the farmers over here know. So that sort of poses an operational risk of managing a large-scale commercial farm. It requires training from outside and just requires a sound operational plan. Second would be market risk. As I said, it's a capital-intensive business. So for you to have a profitable business out of a RAS farm, you need to have good margins in selling your fish. Now in India, fish is still sold like a commodity. The price is decided by the buyer in an auction on the day. Now, even though that's fine, I don't think that's very sustainable and scalable in a long term. It needs to be backed up with contracts. It needs to be backed up with offtakes. So I think market knowledge and formalizing that part of the business is extremely important. And I think thirdly would be financial risk. It's an upfront capital-intensive business, and state of aquaculture in India, I don't think it has attracted a lot of institutional investment. Even though the government has things like PMMSY, I don't think a lot of farmers know how to structure it. So getting available capital to build a RAS farm, as we are also facing right now, is proving to be quite difficult.
Oh, it's really a challenging one, of course. So yeah, it's practically sounds. Thank you for the honest answer. Okay, so what is the long-term, the future vision of your company, Blue Wave Aquaculture? Like next 5 to 10 years, what is your plan?
Immediate goal in the next 5 years is to increase production solely for trout. We plan to reach 400 tons if everything goes well within the next 5 years. And if you talk about a longer term, like a 12-year plan, we truly believe that India can own trout supply or own the supply chain for trout all across the world, especially for Asian and South Asian countries. I mean, just to give you a few numbers, Norway is the biggest exporter of trout. They exported around 1,000 tons of trout in 2024. And their cost of production comes up to around $7, 7.5, while ours could come up to around 3.3 or 4. That's almost less than half. And countries all across Southeast Asia and Asia, accepting a supply chain that's 8,000 kilometers away just because they have the scale. We truly think that if we can prove that we can also grow the fish at the same quality in the same systems, we'd be able to control the entire East Asian, South Asian, and Asian supply chain for trout. So I think that is the biggest goal, is to not only our firm. We truly think that India as a country has the potential to own the supply chain of farm trout using RAS. And obviously, within 12 years, if we have a structured farm, we would love to open our doors to all RAS farmers. Partner with institutions like Manage, with ICAR, just to ensure that RAS as a technology could be ubiquitous in India.
Thank you so much, Vatsal. Really, you shared so much of knowledge, insights about the RAS technology and the challenges, everything you mentioned. It's really one of the good podcasts. Thank you. So this is our podcast, Aquatalks, presented by MANAGE-FISHub. We brings you inspiring stories, innovations, and impact-driven startups from the aquaculture and fisheries ecosystem. Until the next episode, this is Niveta Sike signing off. Thank you for watching.